And what was your very, very first Orpheus show?
First Orpheus show is over 6 years ago now, at Green Gables, which Laura also directed. And
Who were you in?
played Cecil the Farmer. I had seen Christine Drew in a show, a non-Orpheus show, but with Orpheus people, like a month before I auditioned. And I knew Christine outside of Orpheus. She worked with my wife. So that's why we gone to see it. And it was the first time I sort of realized that it wasn't just something other people did. And I mean, I've always liked musicals, I've always liked theater, and she, after seeing her on the show, we sort of talked to her afterwards. It was a great show, and she said, there's one coming up in Orpheus, you should audition. I said, why not? And it was sort of the first time I sort of thought, it wasn't something other people did, why not? So I auditioned, I tried to figure out a song, I was very shaky. Terry, who was the musical director at the time, I got the start of the song wrong, and he sort of stopped it, he guided me in, and they're all very helpful. And I just sort of figured it was worth the attempt anyways, and they called me up and said, do you want to be Cecil the Farmer? I figured I'm typecast to an extent, I'm 6'6", so they every now and then there's, this is a role of 6'6" person in the film. It's good to Mike. But I never know whether I blow them away in the audition or I just happen to be 6'6", but...
It could be both.
It could be both. I choose to believe part of it is quality.
So how many shows have you been in at Orpheus?
I've been on stage in 3 Orpheus shows, and I did some crew work in the last show, and then assistant stage manager for this one. There was a bit of a gap after Anne. It was about 4 years past. I did Rags. I auditioned for Company, but I didn't get into that. It's my only failed audition. I have a blot on my record. And I got into Rags, Big Tim Sullivan, and 2 years after that, Oliver, and they made me even bigger yet with Big Fat Suit as Mr. Bumble.
That was great.
I enjoyed it. I auditioned for Bill Sykes because I figured I wanted sort of meaty, like a villain role, something that's a bit different and sort of a bit serious. And I didn't get Bill Sykes; they gave me Mr. Bumble. And in retrospect, I sort of looked at the script and looked at more songs, etc. Ultimately, I think a better role. I think Bill Sykes would have been interesting. Mr. Bumble is still a juicier role, I think. So,
and what was your favorite show out of the 3 that you've been in?
I mean, I've got a soft spot for Anne of Green Gables just because it was my first, and it was sort of what made me realize I could do musical theater. Objectively, I'd probably have to say Oliver, simply because the role itself was a little meatier to work with. It was more, I had more spoken lines. I had lines that required comic timing. I had sort of several songs to myself, so there was more for me to do. Fantastic costume, the best costume on that stage. Again, boss all the kids around.
You're cute.